the sort of second part of this. I made it a two-part video just because I think that it would be way too long for you if I were to talk the whole time through this thing. So you should have this by now. If you're onto this video, that means that you have this. So the second thing that I want you to do, and I have all my layers here, don't worry about these, really this is a layer that you should have. I'd like you to merge all of your colors. I'd like you to keep your background, so make your background invisible by turning the eyeball off. And then I would like you to merge all of the colored layers. I made you do different colored layers, or different layers for each color, so you could move them around if you needed to, if you were kind of wonky and had white space between. So make sure that all the points meet in the middle. You can turn your guides off by pressing Command H. You don't really need them anymore. And then merge all of those layers together so that you have a nice sort of, you know, red, red, orange, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, blue, violet, violet, and red, violet. The next thing I want you to do is create a circle in the center. So I would like you to do as much as possible a totally even circle. And you can see here, like, I see those little numbers on the side. You want them to be the same. 9377. It might take a few minutes of dragging it up and down and around. Okay, so that's 470 and 470. Then don't go to the transform tool. If you're outside of it, it will make another circle, but if you're inside of it, it will move your circle, okay? And I would like you to place your circle as much in the center as possible. And it kind of will automatically like bump it to the center. All right, I think that looks pretty good. It takes a little bit of work. Okay, so once you have it where it's pretty much in the center and it looks good to you, you're going to press Command J, okay? So I already did that. When you press the Command J, it will make that a new layer here. So you can see this in my layer. When I turn it off and on, you can't see it because it's just automatically with it. But I want you to rotate it until it's at its cross complement. So the complementary colors are colors that are opposite from each other. So the opposite of red is green. So if you just draw a straight line, so you really only need to know one of them, and you're gonna rotate it, maybe. You're gonna rotate it until that red is on that green. And it might not line up perfectly. Mine looks actually pretty good. So see, these lines should match up. If they are a little wonky, you can play with them a little bit and try to get them so that they match up a little bit better. It took me like 30 minutes last time to get this correct. So yeah, I just messed it up now, so I'm gonna make it more correct. And it's like you fix one side and then the other side gets wonky. So use the corners to kind of, it's because they're not even exactly. So your circle's gonna end up being a little bit elongated. So I did make one that, I'm gonna take the eyeball off of this one. Exit, return. And I made one that did match up, okay? So actually, even this one doesn't match up fully. And I could sit here and play with it for an hour, but I don't think you wanna watch me do that. So maybe I'll rotate it just slightly. Hello, Command T. I don't know why it's not working. No, because I'm not in the layer. All right, so if you just hover over the top, you can rotate it slightly, maybe. I think mine just needs to be rotated. Okay, well, it's decent. I don't know. Around here, it's still a little funny. I want you to get it as best you can. So these colors should see how the red violet is here, and then the green is here, and the green is here, and the red violet is there. So they should be exactly across from each other, and those colors should mirror each other, okay? So once you have that, that is a good base start. And once you have that, you can actually merge that, those two layers so that it doesn't move around at all. And then you need to find something for your background. So I picked these leaves. I looked up to get these, I looked up like black and white texture. So something that is black and white and has some sort of texture or pattern to it. So then I moved it into, I moved it into here. I placed it here. So I have this here already. So that's behind that, okay? And then I changed my opacity of both of my, my color wheelie thing. So go to your the original colors you did that are merged, of course. And I would put it at like somewhere between 80 and 90%. So you can still see it, but it's not like too much. And then this one I put down, having that 93. You should have it like approximately the same, but you don't want it so that the color starts to show through on the other one because that'll make it look brown. So adjust slightly down. I have it about 86. That looks pretty good to me. So you can see through it, but not like too much. All right, so once you do that, so again, I brought in my background here, and then I made the opacity right here less in this layer. You should merge your circle and your background, which you can do by selecting the two and say merge layers. So now this is one layer, okay? All right, so now I want you to pick a something. It could be anything. It could be a shoe, it could be a flower, it could be whatever, as long as it's appropriate, I suppose. So you put in every single one of these background colors. I picked a fish. No, where is it? All right, so I picked a fish. And I have my hue and saturation. I'm gonna delete this layer. So this was just my original fish here, okay? I found it on a vector background. I would like it to be on a white background if you can, and then you can just use the magic wand tool to select and then inverse your selection. So you should be able to select your thing. You could even delete the background if you want by selecting the background and then pressing Command X, and it will delete the background and just leave your image, which is kind of the nice thing about it. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. All right, so when I have this, I'm gonna go to hue and saturation. So that'll either be in your adjustment layer if you have one, or in this little black and white circle down here. It's where the black and white is, it's where your brightness and contrast is. We've just never used the hue saturation before. So hue and saturation, all right? And I am just looking at the hue at this point. So I'm gonna move this around and see how my little guy changes as I move it. And it's actually changing to the opposing color. It changes to its complement. So if you go through, I want you to change it. So if I start with red, my complement will be green. So I need to find a nice solid green here, which means I can actually go perfect green, all right? Now, if I tried to move this right now, it would not move my guy. Why? Because I'm in the hue and saturation layer. So you need to, before you try to move it, you can either merge down, merge visible, whatever, okay? Do not try to move it without merging it, because then it will just come up its original color. So then I have my green here, and I'm going to just drag him, keep clicking down, hover over, and I'm gonna put him on top of my red, okay? I'm eventually gonna go around and adjust all of these, but what I found to be the best solution in the beginning is to just go and make all of your colors and then go back and adjust them. So then I'm gonna go back to my original fish here, and I'm just gonna go back to where in my history bar here, make it a little bigger, to where I modified the hue and saturation before, and it'll just bring this back up again. You don't have to keep making a layer and a layer and a layer. Just go back. You don't need this green one anymore. So if I am going to go to, and I can keep toggling back and forth, I'm going to go to my red orange here. So I need a blue green here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to him, and I need a blue green. So I'm going to keep kind of going along. Oh, it's getting a little into the funkiness here. Where's the best blue green? You can just slide along. Oh, that's a good blue green. Okay. So this is pretty similar, and you can kind of toggle back and forth. Okay, does that look similar to this? Yes, it does. So then I'm going to, again, merge my layers and then drag my little guy over here. Okay. So I'll make these two invisible. Whoa. What I just did. And I'm going to go back and make all of mine visible here. So I did all of these, I adjusted them, and then I transformed all of them so that they are facing each other. So each time, just like you did like the mandalas on the board, I want you to make it facing each other and then facing backwards. So each time you should be rotating it. If you want to flip your image, which one am I on? Okay, so if you want to, like say I want to flip this one, I'm gonna show my transform tools or press Command T. I'm not in that layer, sorry. All right. If I want to flip this one, which I already did, but if you want to flip it, just remember you can grab the side of it and flip it back and forth, but you want to make sure that you press the lock button so that it doesn't get all wonky. So I don't want to do that again. Okay, so you're going to do that till you have all of them all the way around. Okay, so it makes kind of a mandala where they face each other going all the way around. It's symmetrical. My fish at the bottom are like a little bit smaller. Like, you know, your slices aren't exactly the same. The ones in the middle are slightly bigger than the sideways ones. That's okay, as long as they are equidistant from the center and make another circle around. Okay, so pick your object. Use the hue and saturation to change it every time. So when I'm done with this one, I'm just going to go back up to my hue and saturation and then change it again if I want it to be blue or purple or blue or red or orange, yellow, whatever. So whatever you need, and then merge it, drag it, and then come back to this and just go back up into before you use your hue and saturation and just do it again, okay? It's not hard, but it is, I do expect that this lines up, you know, as perfectly as possible with these slices here, and that your image is mirrored all the way around, and that it uses the same complement that you have, okay? All right, good luck to you.